Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining me for this video on how to warm up for your level changes in dance. So we're going to start on the floor, and while I'm getting down here, I just wanted to remind you, if you are watching me, please do give me a little thumbs up to let me know you're out there, or a little heart if you are enjoying this, and do please share it with your friends if you think it would be interesting for them. Share it with your troop mates if you do a lot of level changes in your dance. I think this is a really good way to warm up for your level changes if you are doing them. So we're going to start on the floor, and I'm going to give options for all different levels, so choose the option that works for you. And we're just going to start off by extending one leg up into the air at a time. So it's just a kind of marching on the spot and extending the leg. And what we're doing here is we're thinking about contracting the thigh muscles, the quads, which is also stretching a little bit in your hamstrings. So when you are coming down into your level change, you're going to be lengthening the quads. And if you sometimes feel discomfort in the knees, sometimes this can be because they're a little bit tight. So by stretching, this is the kind of stretchy point of the movement, and this is the contraction. By stretching them out a little bit, this is going to help to allow them to get into that deep level, or just where you're at really. If you're just doing shallow levels, that's totally fine as well. You feel free to stay here, or we can add an extra layer by coming up into tabletop position, making sure your spine is staying in neutral, and then extending the legs from here. So now we're getting a little bit of core activation as well. We're working on keeping our spine in neutral, which is what we want when we're doing our level changes. So we're really keeping the core nice and engaged, and we're still squeezing our thigh muscles and lengthening in the backs of the legs. So one more little variation to add to this one. Remember, we're doing 3 exercises, but I'm actually giving you a whole bunch of variations here. Let's start by bringing the feet down to the floor again. And this time we're going to activate the hip flexors a little bit more. So kind of marching the legs now, thinking about the hip flexors. And if this one feels super easy for you, again, we can come back into tabletop position and tap the toes down. So pulling the leg back in, really to warm up the hip flexors. And if you want to get the hamstrings and quads involved again, we can extend the leg a little bit further along the floor and then bringing it back in. Making sure the spine is staying in neutral the entire time. And let's do a couple more of these. And come to center and one leg down at a time. Good. All right. So exercise number 2, we want to get some strength into our hamstrings and glutes now. So we're going to be doing my favorite, hip bridge, glute bridge. So squeezing your bum, lifting the hips up, thinking about the hamstrings as well, and then bringing the hips back down to the floor. So squeezing and lifting, pressing through the floor, sending the knees away. And you can roll through the spine a little bit if you like, but really keeping the ribs down. We're not coming up onto the shoulders here. We're not thinking about extension in the spine. We're really focusing on that glute contraction, hamstrings working as well. And this is also helping to stretch out the hip flexors. And maybe a little bit of stretch in the quads as well. Not too much, but it's all helping, all contributing to those challenging level changes. We're going to do a couple more. So just to let you into a secret, level changes are not my forte. I've been dancing for a long time, and they're something that I always find really, really exceedingly challenging. So we're going to stick with the bridge, and we're going to add a little variation if you like. We're going to come up into the bridge and then lift one heel and then lift the other heel and then coming down. Maybe bring the feet in a little closer. Heel up and down. So I've had to work really hard over the years on my level changes, and I still do. They're definitely not easy for me by any stretch of the imagination, and definitely still a work in progress. I have to be super warmed up. I definitely feel it in my knees. If I am not, I find it much easier if I've done a really thorough warm-up before I do anything involving level changes. Let's just add one more level if you want it. When you come up, you can lift both heels at the same time and up, and then roll down. Let's do 5 of these, lifting them up. Don't forget your glutes, heels up, and down. And coming up, heels, and down. 2 more. Squeezing the glutes, squeezing the hamstrings, abdominals are working, rib cage is down. Last one, coming up, press up and up. So that's with the heels and rolling down. Give yourself a little hug, stretch out to the glutes and release. So let's come up to standing. We'll make it a little bit more closer to what we actually do when we do our level changes. So we're going to start off with just a basic squat. So taking whatever foot position you like. For me, it's a bit more natural to have a slightly wider stance. Sending your hips back, keeping your chest lifted and coming into that squat. So now we're really activating the legs in a standing position, which obviously is what we need for our level changes. We're using our glutes to come up. You're going to need those when you do your level changes. So really squeeze them as you come up out of your squat, keeping the chest lifted, keeping the rib cage pulled down towards the pubic bone. And a couple more. Okay, so let's make it into a little bit more dance-like. We're going to do what I call a plie squat, or it's just a plie in second position, I suppose. And we're going to keep a flat back as we come down. So knees coming out over the toes and squeezing back up. So probably not going to be able to go as deep as you go in your usual squat, really keeping that length in the low back, keeping the spine in neutral, but we're thinking about going down that imaginary wall behind us as opposed to taking our hips back as we would do with a normal squat. You can do whatever you like with your hands. You can bring them out to the sides if you like. You might need them in a minute when we add the variation on. So we're going to do a little bit more work to warm up the calves and the ankles. So let's lift the heel up, pressing into the big toe joint. We're going to do 5 on each side for now. And let's do one more. Feel free to switch the arms if you like. You can take them overhead. We're going to the other side. Remember, we're really keeping the abdominals engaged, keeping the rib cage and pelvis pulling down towards each other just a little bit. And 2 more, I think, on this side. And you can either do another 4 or 5 on each side, or you can join me in a final variation. Let's see if I can do this today. Coming up onto both toes and then coming down. So really focusing on that core connection, using your glutes to come up. Are you breathing? Pressing into the big toe joint. Taking it as low as you can. We're going to do 3 more. And 2. And last one. Coming up and release. Well done. Okay, shake it out. So I've given you 3 different exercises there, but actually you have a ton of different variations within those. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you've got something there to help you warm up for your level changes. Really important to warm up all of the musculature of the legs, hips, get everything firing well, get it all released, get it all moving really well before you start doing level changes, because they are a really challenging thing that we do in our dance. And it you know, as I said before, it's something that has taken me a lot of work over sort of nearly 13 or 14 years of dance. So please take it easy on yourself and make sure you do a good warm up before you do them. Any questions, please do let me know. Drop a comment in the comments below. I haven't seen any questions come through on the live, so I'm going to sign off, but do tag me if you comment afterwards. Give me a little thumbs up or a heart if you have enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much.